Going live. We are live. Okay, so lesson 14. All right, who wants to read?
I can read.
Okay.
Number 3. In an ANOVA hypothesis test, we reject the null when there is sufficient evidence to indicate at least one mean is different from the others. True. 4. What requirements need to be checked when performing an ANOVA hypothesis test? That was B, C. So data in each group are normally distributed and variances are equal in each group. 5. To check if each group is normally distributed, do the following. That was a QQ plot for each group. Number 6, we assume the variance in each group is the same if the following happens. That was the largest variance. It's less than 4 times the smallest variance. Number 7, an ANOVA hypothesis test is equivalent to conducting independent 2-sample t-tests between every pair of samples. If there are 3 samples, there are 3 pairs, 1, 2, 1, 3, 2, 3. How many pairs are there when there are 4 samples? That was 6. Number 8. The soccer shoes data has 6 groups, A, B, C, D, E, and socks. These data can be found in the Winky, load all 6 samples, la 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 la. Okay, what is p-value? That was so confusing. That took so long.
Oh, I know.
0.309. I'm so glad it's not going to be on the test. That was like 20.
Did you say 0.309?
Yeah.
Okay, that's good.
Is that what you got?
Yes. I'm
Okay.
so glad that we don't have to worry about that.
I know.
I think it took him a half hour on that problem.
Yeah. I felt bad. I was like skipping ahead.
I know.
It's going to be over. Oh,
Yeah.
all right. Number 9, the p-value always goes up when only one group is removed compared to the p-value when all 6 samples are included. That was false. 10. What is the highest p-value you see when removing only one group? You will need to compute an ANOVA for each possible option.
Trey, please stop.
This was 0.448. 11. When all 6 samples are used, what's the minimum variance? This was 27.208. When all 6 samples are used, what is the maximum variance? And that was 53.158. 13. The test for...
Wait, pause, hold on.
Oh, what?
That was for 11 or 12?
That was for 12.
What was 11?
11's 27.208.
Oh. Okay, I put them in the wrong spot. And 10 was 0.448, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
No, you're good. All right. Did you need 12 again? Or?
Nope, 53.158.
Okay. All right, 13. The test for equal variances is satisfied for these data. And that was true. Construct a QQ plot for each of the 6 samples. Each of the samples are approximately normal based on what you see in the QQ plots. That was true. And the test statistic for an ANOVA hypothesis test is an F statistic. Is the p-value to the area of the right or the left? And that was to the right.
Great job.
Okay. Number 15. Or lesson 15, I mean. Long one.
Yeah.
What are you cooking?
It's just pasta.
Oh.
Sorry.
No, you're fine.
Sorry.
I love your head wraps, by the way.
Oh, thanks.
They're all so cute.
I have a lot of them. I work out at Badger Creek in the summers, and so
Oh, yeah.
and your hair gets really greasy, so I've collected a lot of them over the summer.
Hard.
I was like, if my hair is gonna be gross, I still want to look cute about it. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're super cute.
okay, do you want me to keep reading?
Sure.
Are you eating?
Huh?
Are you eating? I can read.
I'll be fine. Unless you want to.
I will. You can eat. Okay, number 2, given a 90% confidence interval of 45 and 105 for mean heart rate, which of the following is the best interpretation of this confidence interval? Okay, we are 90% confident that the true mean heart rate is between 45 and 105. These were really confusing me. I don't know why. I know it's supposed to say confident, but where it said we are 95% confident that there's a 95% chance.
Yeah.
I had never heard that until this review. Okay.
It was like the first things of this unit.
Yeah.
It's all confusing. I feel like it's trick words.
Yeah,
I
I know.
know.
It's easy.
I did not feel prepared for this exam at all.
I'm so freaking nervous.
Okay, number 3. Well, researchers at the University of Mississippi wanted to determine whether the reaction time in seconds to go or no-go stimulus of males differed from that of females. The researchers randomly selected 20 females and 15 males to participate. The go, no-go stimulus required the student to respond to a particular stimulus and not to respond to other stimuli. The research decided to construct a confidence interval to determine if the difference of the means is significant. To determine whether the confidence interval would be reliable, they create QQ plots of both random samples and see that they are approximately normal. Are the requirements for constructing the confidence interval satisfied? Why or why not? Okay, so yes, the distribution of the mean of each sample is normal since the data has been determined to be normal. For of the 4 types of confidence intervals listed below, which one is appropriate for this experiment? D, confidence interval for the difference of means using independent samples. Yeah. A researcher is interested in estimating the savings account balance of customers at a large bank. She obtains a savings account balance of a random sample of 30 customers. A 95% confidence interval for the mean savings account balance of bank customers is found to be in those numbers. Which of the following would produce a confidence interval with a smaller margin of error than this 95% confidence interval? And this one was to have a higher amount of banks, which was B, have 90 rather than 30.
Trey, you're going to break my keys. Stop.
6, a factory makes propeller drive shafts for ships. A quality assurance engineer at the factory needs to estimate the true mean length of the shafts. She randomly selects 4 drive shafts made at the factory, measures their lengths, and finds their sample mean to be 1,000 millimeters. The lengths are known to follow a normal distribution whose standard deviation is 2. Calculate a 95% confidence interval for the true mean length of the shafts. This one is done in Excel. I like those Excel ones. Those are manageable.
Yeah.
Okay, 7. To assess the accuracy of a laboratory scale, a standard weight that is known to weigh 1 gram is repeatedly weighed a total of 10 times, and the mean of the weightings is computed. Suppose the scale readings are normally distributed with unknown mean U and standard deviation of 1 or 0.01 grams. How large should N be so that a 95% confidence interval for U has a margin of error of plus or minus 0.001? This one was also done in Excel. The answer was 38416 for C. 8. The mean area view of the several thousand apartments in the new development is advertised to be 1,250 square feet. A tenant group thinks that the apartments are smaller than advertised. They hire an engineer to measure a random sample of apartments to test their suspicion. The appropriate null and alternative hypothesis, HO and HA for you are A, the first one's equal, the alternative is less than. 9. In a statistical test of hypotheses, we say that data are statistically significant at the level of significance if A equals 0.05. Or is that right? Is it A? Oh, no.
No, it's less
B.
than alpha.
The p-value is less than A. Sorry, that was on the other one.
What? I missed number 6.
Oh. Let's see. It was A, the first set of numbers.
Oh, okay. I had it clicked, but I was just making sure because I wrote down just 998 point. I didn't finish it.
Oh.
That didn't help me. Okay, sorry. Go on.
Okay, 10. A group of statistics students wants to determine if students in some apartment buildings get better grades than students in other apartment buildings. They collect GPAs from an anonymous random sample of size 15 from each of 4 different apartment buildings. The data for each apartment building are bell-shaped with no outliers, and the sample variances are nearly equal. Can they use a ANOVA hypothesis test to answer their question? Yes, it is enough that the data for each apartment building are bell-shaped with no outliers, and the sample variances are nearly equal. See, that threw me because I thought ANOVA always had to be right, skewed. But they're bell-shaped with no outliers. So I don't know. Did that one throw you guys off?
Oh, I didn't even think of that.
I don't know.
I'm just all confused, like all over the place. So
Yeah. Almost everyone I was thinking, oh, I would have got that wrong. I would have got that wrong.
yeah.
Okay, 11. A medical researcher is working on a new treatment for a certain type of cancer. The average survival time after diagnosis for the standard treatment is 2 years. So the null hypothesis is the average survival time after diagnosis is the same for the new treatment and the standard treatment. In the early trial, she tries the new treatment on 3 subjects who have an average survival time after diagnosis of 4.5 years. Even though the sample is small, the results are statistically significant at the 0.05 significance level. Consequently, she rejects the null hypothesis. In a future study, it is determined that the new treatment does not increase the mean survival time in the population of all patients with this particular type of cancer. So the researcher has committed a type 1 error, and that is where you reject the null when it's actually true. And the opposite is protected. Okay, 12. If the level of significance is made very small, thereby making the probability of committing type 1 error very small, what happens to the probability of committing a type 2 error? And that is the first one, by reducing the probability of committing type 1. D. By reducing the probability of committing a type 1 error, we increase the probability of committing a type 2 error. They are opposite. 13. The nicotine content in cigarettes of a certain brand is normally distributed, with mean in milligrams U and a known standard deviation of 0.17. The brand advertises that the mean nicotine content of its cigarettes is 1.5, but measurements on a random sample of 100 cigarettes of this brand give a sample mean of X bar equals 1.53. Is this evidence that the mean nicotine content is actually higher than advertised? To answer this, test the hypothesis. Null equals 1.5, alternative is greater than 1.5. At the 5% level of significance, you conclude that you should, that is D, reject the null, because the p-value is less. Okay, 14. You would like to look at the mean number of hours worked per wages per week by male students and female students. You would like a random sample of 100 for each group and test if those means are different. What is the correct statistical procedure? And it is independent samples to test. 15, educators interested in academic achievement by males and females with similar academic support systems. She decides to use brothers and sisters raised in the same home. Furthermore, she decides to use only brother-sister pairs when they are next to each other in sibling order. Should she use a hypothesis test based on independent or dependent sampling? It is D, dependent sampling. If you select a brother so as to compare his academic achievement to his sister, you must include the sister. 16, a soil scientist collected random soil samples from a field and measured the dissolved organic carbon level of each sample. The researcher would like to construct a 95% confidence interval for the mean dissolved organic carbon level in the field. Open the data file, dissolved organic carbon. Use this information to answer question 16 and 17. Of the 4 types of confidence intervals listed below, which one is appropriate for this situation? Its confidence interval for mean and sigma is unknown. 17, which of the following is the 95% confidence interval for these data? It is D, 11.168, 15.217. 18, a random sample of Hummers for sale in Los Angeles and New York were taken from listings at cars.com. We want to know if there's a difference in mean listing prices between Hummers for sale in Los Angeles, Group 1, and Hummers for sale in New York, Group 2. Create a 95% confidence interval for the true difference of mean listing prices between the 2 cities. Open the data file, use Hummers, LA, and New York. Use this information for 18 and 19. Of the 4 types of confidence intervals listed below, which one is appropriate for this situation? D, confidence interval for the difference of means using independent samples. 19, find the 95% confidence interval for the true mean of difference. C, negative 423 and 5417. 20, many studies have suggested that there is a link between exercise and healthy bones. Exercise stresses the bones and this causes them to get stronger. One study examined the effect of jumping on the bone density of growing rats. I thought this was... There were 3 groups. Rats were selected at random for the 3 groups. A control with no jumping, a low jump group, the jump height was 30 centimeters, and a high jump group, 60 centimeters. After 8 weeks of 10 jumps per day, 5 days per week, the bone density of the rats expressed in milligrams per cubic centimeters was measured. The rats were selected at random for the 3 groups. Researchers like to determine if the mean level of bone density levels of bone density are different between 3 different groups of rats listed above. Use alpha 0.05 level of significance. Open the data. Use the information for 20 to 23. What is the correct hypothesis test for this situation? It's the ANOVA one. So the test statistic was C7.978. And the p-value was 0.002, which is D. 23, which the following best express the conclusion of this test with a level of significance of 0.05, and it is B. There is sufficient evidence to conclude that the bone density of at least one of the groups is different from the bone density of at least one of the other groups. What I don't get is how they got the rats to jump.
I know.
Whatever. Okay. Pressures of supply and demand act directly on the prices for an airline ticket. As the seats available on the plane begin to fill, airlines raise the price. If seats on a flight do not sell well, an airline may discount the tickets or even cancel the flight. A study was undertaken to determine if there is a difference in the mean cost of an airline ticket purchased 90 days in advance of a scheduled flight compared to the ticket purchased only 14 days in advance. Data was collected on the cost of a one-way ticket from London's Heathrow Airport to a variety of destinations in Europe. The lowest published ticket price of a one-way flight from Heathrow to various destinations in Europe was recorded for each scheduled flight 90 days in advance and then again 14 days in advance. Perform a hypothesis test to determine if there is a difference in the cost of the non-stop flights when tickets were purchased 14 days in advance compared to 90 days in advance. We use a level of significance of 0.10, open data, and 24 to 27. 24, what is the correct hypothesis test for the situation? And it is C, dependent. 25, the test statistic is A, 1.685, and the p-value is B, 0.096. .10. Which of the following best express the conclusion of this test with a level of significance of .10? Is B, there's sufficient evidence to conclude that there's a difference of the cost, which is 14 days compared to 90 days.
What was 23? I missed it.
B, there's sufficient evidence to conclude that at least one of the groups is different.
Okay. Perfect. So none of you have taken the exam yet?
No. I'm going to read through everything again. I guess I just have a hard time trying to figure out what to do in SPSS.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't know which one of the groups to use yet. I don't know.
Do you remember, how do I explain it? And I forget what test you use, but when there's like categorical names, like, I think the example I'm thinking of is like I don't even remember the test it was, but it was like Colorado and Utah, but you can't use like category, you had to turn it into like Colorado is 1 and Utah is 2.
Yeah.
Do you know how to change that?
I know how to do it, but I don't know how you know when to do it. That's what's...
Oh.
hang on, I have something written down about that.
Sorry, you can...
It has a certain name. Like the group transform recode, right?
I think so. That sounds familiar.
So it's when there's 2 independent samples. When you want the confidence interval of 2 independent samples. But I don't know if that's the only time you use it, or if you use it more than that.
Start again.
It's number 25 on the practice. Well, 25 on, let me see what it is. On the exam 2 practice revised. I think it's the test that he put together for us.
Okay.
Number 25. And there's a confidence interval, or when you're trying to find the confidence interval, and there's 2 independent samples. I know he did it on that problem. It's transform, recode, and then you have to rename the column.
Okay.
It's so confusing, though.
I'm so scared.
I don't know if you use it on other problems also. If you have to recode them.
All right. Well, we'll see how this goes.
Thankfully, we have 4 hours. I'm going to have to look up every one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Use the full amount of time.
Yeah. I was going to try and do it during kindergarten. I don't think it's going to work.
Probably not.
All right.
So Tuesday at 8?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I will remember. If not, then just send me a message.
No, I think tonight was supposed to be 9. I don't know why I just thought 8.
I got on, I sat down and like went to check it, and I was like, oh no! What happened?
And I don't know how I called you. I didn't mean to.
Yeah.
But anyway.
All righty. Well, I will see you ladies next week then.